Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Final Answer. This is Battlefield 1. In today's weapon review, we're going to be taking a closer look at the Huot Automatic Low Weight Level 10 unlock for the support class, the last LMG, at least pre-DLC, that you can get. Is it any good? What are its base stats, properties? How is it best used on the battlefield? And should you be using this? Of course, this is all subject to analysis in today's video, but as we always do, we're going to be starting with the base stats of the weapon. We have a maximum damage here of 23 and a minimum damage of 15. What this means is a guaranteed 5-shot kill, that is a body shot kill, all the way out to 30 meters, from which point onwards you will require then 6 or even 7 bullets to down your target. It comes paired with a relatively low fire rate at 475 rounds per minute. Certainly not going to be able to do enough damage to out damage some of the more close quarter geared weapons, and it's thus relegated to more medium long range combat. Its magazine size sadly doesn't help it out here either. At 26 rounds, it's not relatively high, and you're going to find yourself reloading this weapon relatively frequently, and the reload on this weapon isn't amongst the fastest. Admittedly, it isn't horrible at 2.85 seconds for the short reload. The long reload is a little bit worse at 4.25 seconds. However, if you possibly can and do find yourself in close quarter combat with this weapon, try to at least avoid the empty long reload. Moving on then to the recoil of this weapon, the definite strength of the Huot Low Weight. This comes in at 0.28 vertical and 0.08 horizontal, both to the left and right, meaning that there is essentially no horizontal recoil and very little vertical recoil to deal with, making it very easy to control. Contributing to this is of course also the first shot recoil multiplier at 1.4. It's very low. This weapon is ideal for anybody who can't control recoil very well, although admittedly anybody who's played Battlefield in the past should find this amount of recoil relatively easy. I would actually go as far as saying laughable. Its accuracy is quite good as well. Speaking of that accuracy, and let's move on to its base ADS at 0.18. Definitely accurate enough to take out most targets at most ranges from the accuracy perspective. Its ADS while moving isn't too bad either at 0.82. You can certainly strafe and shoot for the close quarter to medium range targets, and its hipfire is alright at 2.5 while hipfiring, standing and moving. With the base stats then being covered, what else can we quickly add before we get into the analysis section of playstyle and how to best use this weapon? Well, this weapon is actually also equipped with a bipod, which you can make use of as well. It's one of the few weapons that has relatively good hip fire, relatively good accuracy while moving, all the while actually also having a bipod, making it in that sense a little bit more flexible. However, in many other senses, it's not very flexible weapon at all, and I find it to be relatively underwhelming when using. For a matter of fact, on the edge of difficult because of its low damage output. Now, saying that DPS, damage per second, is the king in Battlefield is not always been a correct statement. However, there's always a certain merit to that argument, because in the end, no matter how good you are, if your gun doesn't put out your damage, you can be hitting as many shots as you want to, you're not going to get the kill. And when we look at the Huot, we find that it's in a little bit of a difficult spot. It's definitely specialized at medium long range when you take a closer look at things like fire rate, recoil, and its relatively good accuracy. It does have that caveat of having a relatively small magazine, which makes this a little bit more difficult. Nevertheless, is geared towards longer range engagement. However, it's got a ridiculously poor damage model for that, requiring 7 bullets, and that's if all 7 of your bullets actually hit your enemy in the chest and not, for example, in the arm, is quite a lot to ask from a gun that shoots at a low fire rate, especially in a game where long-range combat is dominated by sniper rifles that haven't been this strong since a long time in the Battlefield franchise. Also, the Huot has to come up with medium range against some quite capable DMRs. The Say Rigotti, the Selbstlade M1916, or the Mondragon are weapons that frankly just will perform better at the ranges where the Huot supposedly should have a leg up. Because one thing is sure, running the Huot in close quarter is asking for trouble, where you're coming up against the assault class with shotguns and SMGs, and also some more capable medic and support players which simply have weapons that outclass your time to kill relatively easily. I'm thinking here of course about things like the autoloading 8.25 extended, or the Barstorm, MG15 Storm, or Madsen Storm, all weapons that will more or less take this one apart when it comes to close quarter combat. So this is where I then find myself a little bit of a difficulty. My playstyle demands me to get onto the objective, to get to more close quarter medium range distances where this weapon doesn't perform. So if you want to use this weapon successfully, you essentially have to relegate yourself to a little bit longer distances. However, in doing so, you put yourself in danger of getting sniped or killed by one of the more competent long medium range medic or snipers, which of course have a leg up at these distances to you. So when you use this weapon, try to be mindful, try to find the medium range, try to stick with teammates, use it truly as a support weapon. you cannot use this weapon aggressively, and you cannot use this weapon long range. Using the bipod certainly can try and help to make up for its low damage output, but I don't quite see why you would use a weapon like this over something like the MG15, for example the low weight variant, which also has a bipod and can provide similar supportive role, however higher DPS in close quarter and a higher magazine count. Anyway, let me know down below in the comments what your experiences have been using the Huot Automatic Low Weight. Is it your favorite gun, your least favorite gun, or do you find yourself a little bit indifferent when using it, such as myself, and not finding really much joy in using this weapon on the battlefield with many more capable alternatives out there? Let me know that down below in the comments. As well, I'd be interested to see if there's maybe a split here between PC and console players, because of course recoil has a little bit of a different role on console, so let me know that as well down below, as well as of course, as per usual, all your video suggestions. But with all that being said, I'd like to thank you all very much for watching and hope to see you in the next Battlefield 1 video.